Hello, everyone. I'm Laurel Staples. In Montana, Governor Greg Gianforte recently vetoed a bill that called for reimbursing jails for holding inmates waiting for a bed at the state hospital. Reporter Katie Fairbanks just posted a new story on this in the Montana Free Press, and she joins me today via Zoom to talk about the impacts. Hi, Katie. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you for having me.
Thanks for joining me for this. And let's just dive right into it. First, describe the situation local jails are dealing with right now, and even what it's like for inmates.
Yeah, so many jails across the state are seeing an increasing number of inmates who are waiting for a bed at the state hospital for treatment or for evaluation to see if they are mentally fit enough to continue with their case. And so, as there are more inmates waiting in local jails, they're taking up bed space that is often limited, and the jails are having to, monitor these inmates and provide them mental health and medical care while not receiving any reimbursement from the state. So they're taking on these costs as part of their regular budget.
And what is the cost like for some of these jails and counties?
Yeah, in Missoula County in 2024, they told me the cost of housing these inmates was over $800,000. And that is based on kind of a daily rate per inmate. And so for some folks who use more medical or mental health resources, the actual cost may be higher.
Okay. Well, share with me some more numbers, like how many inmates are waiting for a bed for at the state hospital, and how long is the wait, the average wait right now, and any more cost figures that you have.
Yeah, so about 100 to 125 inmates are waiting in county jails for a bed at the state hospital or another facility. That's a number from the Department of Health and Human Services. And that number can kind of vary in different counties. In Missoula, as of last week, they had 24 inmates waiting. In Yellowstone County, they had 18. So those can vary over time, and the amount of time that people are waiting also varies, but they told me that it's typically measured in months or even more than a year for some people. And that has also gone up over time.
So, what do the inmates in the jails? Are there any other options that they can do during this time to try to move that process along?
Yeah, so there are limited options. Jails, depending on the resources that are available in each county, they can provide, some mental health services for inmates. Um, but that really just depends on everybody's individual situation. They can give some medication, but they are really waiting for this court-ordered treatment at the state hospital. And they can do some evaluations locally, but if they have an evaluation and they're found that they need to get treatment, they are still then waiting to go to the state hospital for that treatment.
All right, so give me a breakdown of the bill and what it aimed to do here.
Yeah, so House Bill 643 appropriated one-time funding of $6 million from the Behavioral Health System for Future Generations Fund, which was part of this larger 300 million that the legislature set aside to address issues with the state's behavioral health system. So the bill appropriated that money to reimburse counties for the costs of holding inmates waiting for evaluations or treatment. And so the counties would be reimbursed on a daily rate. And based on the number of inmates waiting for a bed at the state hospital, they estimated that that money would only last through fiscal year 2026, just because there's so many people who are waiting in county jails.
Okay. So, did the veto come as a surprise to most? And what were some of the reasons the governor gave?
Yes, the bill did come to a surprise as it had bipartisan support in the House and the Senate. And the bill sponsored Tracy Sharp from Polson. He was surprised by the veto because of that. And the governor did give several reasons as to why he vetoed the bill. He called it an expensive band-aid for an issue that needed a permanent solution. And he also pointed to money that was included in the Long Range Infrastructure Projects Bill, which is House Bill 5, to renovate part of the Montana State Hospital and free up some more beds for folks waiting for a spot there. And then that would shorten the wait list and help out county jails that way. And the legislature also approved 26.5 million for a new behavioral health facility in eastern Montana. Now, the State Department of Health said the timelines for those projects weren't yet available, but they were working on that. And Gianforte also said money was available to counties through the Behavioral Health System for Future Generations Fund, and that money would go towards local evaluations and stabilizations that would help shorten the wait list so people could receive those services locally instead of waiting to go to the state hospital for that.
And in your article, you also got a lot more reaction. And go ahead and tell me about that.
Yes, so the county officials in Missoula were concerned about the long timelines of those projects. While they did support money for the state hospital and being able to kind of free up some of those beds, they just said that those projects will take time, and in the meanwhile, they're still dealing with these larger numbers of larger numbers of inmates waiting in the county jails. And Yellowstone County and Cascade County sheriffs were also in support of reimbursement to help with those costs while we wait for some of those long-term solutions. And the bill sponsor, Representative Sharp, disagreed with the governor's argument and said that the reimbursement would help county taxpayers who are currently paying state taxes for these services, but they're also paying county taxes that are going to these costs on the local level.
Mm-hmm. So I was trying to come up with some other temporary solutions in the meantime. Um, uh, what were the big takeaways for you in putting this article together?
Yes, some of the takeaways were that this is obviously a very complicated issue, and there's a lot of factors that are kind of affecting the services that are available to folks. And one key takeaway is something that was mentioned by Representative Sharp and the Missoula County Attorney Matt Jennings and other officials, and that's that it's not just about the money. The counties do have these costs, and it's important to help out with those, is what they said. But these inmates who are waiting in county jails, they have been ordered by the court to receive treatment, and it's not right to let them wait in jail instead of getting the treatment that they need to deal with their mental health issues. And often waiting for long periods of time in jail can make those mental illnesses worse. And so folks were saying that it's not just about the money, but it's really about getting people the treatment that they need.
Any information on whether new legislation will be put together to try to push this through again?
I'm not sure what legislation may be proposed in future sessions, but the bill sponsor Tracy Sharp did tell me that this will go to a veto override vote, which means that the Secretary of State will send out a ballot to all the legislators to vote by mail on whether or not to override the governor's veto. And Sharp said that the results from that should be available sometime in July.
Okay, interesting. Well, we'll certainly follow that and follow your reporting on this. Is there anything else that you'd like to share?
Nope, I think we covered it all.
Okay, all right. Well, thank you, Katie.
Great. Thank you so much.